how are you going? We're back in the van and I'm gonna introduce some heat in here. Not with the wood burner that I'm going to install, but this video is all about the diesel heater that I bought. One of many you can buy online. I chose a cheaper option because I don't have heaps of money. They're all pretty much the same anyway. If you go for the cheaper ones, they all look the same. They have different names of brands, but you can clearly see that they're all made in the same factory. And yeah, I got one of those cheap diesel heaters, and it's gonna go down there below the passenger seat. So I got that one quite some time ago. It's actually one of the first things I bought because I thought I'm gonna install it very soon. But there was one problem. I was kind of afraid of how I'm gonna get the diesel because I didn't want to go like into the diesel tank. So I found a video. Shout out to that dude, because he said with this model Sprinter you can tap into the fuel line for the diesel heater that is for the engine.
If yours has that, you'll see a little box behind the driver's side headlight, as well as a heater booster button on the dashboard.
And so I'm gonna try that out. I'm not sure if it's gonna work yet, but I bought a T intersection where I can just, you know, get my diesel out of there too. I had a look on all the parts when I got that. I built it all together once before because that makes sense, so that you kind of know how you have to do things. You want to be making sure that you have enough space under the van, because we've got lots of space underneath the passenger seat, but I just can't drill down at any place. So we're going to make sure that we're going to find the right spot first and then work our way around there. You know, I wasn't gonna make a video about the diesel heater once it's done because I was so frustrated today, or at least tonight, because it was so cold and all the cheap parts. Show you an example. Especially those rings here. I don't know if you can probably. These have been giving me the shits because they just break instantly once you tighten them up too tight. Yeah, I probably have to buy some new ones just to be making sure that it fits tight underneath the van, because when I'm driving I don't want to have all the parts falling out. So don't expect too much when buying such a cheap diesel heater, but the heat is awesome, which is why I'm recording a video now. It even came with a remote. Shall we try that one? This is the remote. Ooh! It works! So yeah, works alright, works pretty good, makes some really nice warm air. I'm gonna go upstairs now. Been working all day. You might have noticed that in all the videos before, I did not have the wood burner. Those shots were taken even before that. So it's about, I would say, a month ago that I installed the diesel heater. It took me a whole weekend, but it was so worth it because I've been testing it out quite a few times by now, and yeah, it's been working pretty good. I had some days out where I was flying the drone and my fingers were freezing off, and I was crashing the drone in the snow, and I was able to heat the drone back up and get all of the water and moisture out of there, and was able to fly it like in half an hour later. And so it was super useful for those kind of days when you're out with the van. Yeah, and it's actually kind of quick to start up, you know, just kind of press a button. It takes about 5 minutes until the air is warm, and then, you know, 5 minutes until it's shut off again, because at the end it pumps out all the heat, which is very nice, and got nothing really to complain about. The only thing I mentioned before, and I did have a couple of issues with some kind of rattling noise at the very start because I positioned it too close to the wall of the seat, and so I was bending the outer shell that it was touching the fan, which is going to push all the air through, and so it made this rattling noise. And so I just fixed it with just like screwing in a bit of wood in between, you know, this metal and the plastic box, and just kind of bending it back over. So yeah, that worked, and ever since I didn't have this noise. It's been running fine so far. Just overall pretty nice experience having that one, because the wood burner you really want to just fire on when you're driving somewhere and want to stay the night. One thing I did change afterwards was the exhaust pipe, because it was kind of just directing all the fumes of the diesel underneath the back of the van, and they were just kind of collecting there. And so what I did was to actually switch that exhaust and having it so that all the fumes are going to go towards the front, because it pushes out a lot of hot air. And at the very start you can smell a little more, but when it's going you can't, you only smell a little bit. But still, I wanted to have those fumes rather at the front, and because where the engine block sits, there are a lot of gaps where you can have the air flowing through, and so they're just gonna come out at the front bonnet, I think. So yeah, it's a bit better, I reckon, to have them coming out at the front when you're chilling in the back of the van. That was it for the diesel heater, and more videos coming soon, I guess. Just wanted to get this out of the way because, as you can see, this footage has been laying around far too long. I'll see you in the next one.